Welcome, everybody, to the podcast. I'm really fortunate to be joined by Jamie from Arnold Clark. But before we get into it, who am I? Well, I'm Tim Moore. I'm the co-founder of ONEEV, and we're the new kids on the block when it comes to EV charging. And we'll find out later about how we fit into the EV charging world. So, Jamie, welcome to the podcast. Tell me a little bit about you so my audience can get to understand who you are.
Thanks very much, Tim. So I am the technical lead for Arnold Clark Charge. I've been with the Arnold Clark organisation now for the last 3 years, and I have been around this project since day one, since it was an idea, and really proud to be doing what I'm doing and to see the network grow and where it's at just now. Prior to Arnold Clark, I was involved in the sales side of EV charging and also policy delivery as well. So been around for a wee while now in this space, and it's been absolutely, it's been thoroughly enjoyable to see how it's grown and changed in such a short period of time. It's been brilliant. So yeah, great to talk to you today, Tim.
Brilliant. Well, I think today our listeners are going to get to understand more about Clark and the partnership you have here with ONEEV, and also, well, a little bit of learning for maybe users that are thinking about converting into the EV world, because, you've got a range of products behind EV charging. You're not just an EV structure. You've got plenty of other things in mind. Now, one of the things that struck us straight away with our partnership is the focus that ONEEV and Arnold Clark has on the customer. So give us any insights on Clark and, how you focus on the customer and the end user.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to a customer buying or leasing or renting an electric car, particularly for the first time, we know it can be a wee bit scary, and particularly from a public charging point of view, people are not really sure what to do, where to go, how it works. Some people, I think, can feel quite intimidated. What we've tried to do as an organisation is say, okay, we want you to come to us, of course, and buy a car, but we don't want you to feel unsupported. And after you buy a car from us, that's you out in the wilds, and good luck. So we, a couple of years ago, decided to invest in our very own public EV charging network, and that way we can help the customer on their journey to electric. And if there's someone who's going to be relying on public charging, or maybe not, just on occasion they want to or need to charge their car out in public away from home, they can come into the branch and they can use our network. And of course, anyone can use us as well. So this has been the sort of core objective of what we're trying to do. So we need to make sure that the customer experience is as good as it possibly can be, so that the customer is happy. Ultimately, that's what we're all trying to do here. And they'll come back and they'll use our network, and they'll feel comfortable and confident, not just using our network, but any network. That's really what we're trying to do, is put the customer first and really make them feel supported on their journey.
Wow, that's brilliant. I'd say that with a real love and passion behind it, because I was recently at an EV show where we were talking to CPOs, and I asked them one simple question, which was all about when they have their meetings, no doubt they've got top people in the room, but who's in the room to represent the end user, the customer? And in all four instances of these major CPOs, they said none, which was a real surprise to me. And it's the reason why I said that is I want to endorse the fact that you actually are all about the customer experience and the customer first, which is obviously why our brands definitely have an overlap, and that's a certain fact. But first, this must also be part of your EV structure, bay layouts. That must be part of the design method that you have, right?
Yeah, sure. So when we started the project, one of the sort of non-negotiables that we had was that we wanted to make the bays, and the sort of layout as well. Let's start with the bays first, as big as possible, given the space that we've got. So what I should just confirm as well is that our charge points are all situated within our Arnold Clark dealership forecourts. So there's not unlimited space, let's put it that way. So we've done a really good job to make the most of the space that we've got. And yes, we have and will make sacrifices. And what I mean by that is, if 8 chargers would be a squeeze, but 6 would be okay, then we'll go with the 6 option sort of thing, because we want to make it as user-friendly as possible for all users, families, people that maybe have a accessibility restriction. and moving away from the base a little bit, even our choice of hardware as well. Our sort of principle was that we wanted to work with a hardware provider who provided, slim chargers to again give that space and provide flexibility with the length of the cables, and no matter where your charging port is, it should be easy for you to charge. And also, I think really importantly, all of our chargers are the exact same at every single site, so the customer experience is the same no matter what. So you're not going to a different site and it's a different charger with a slightly different process or an order at which you do things, or it's a different button or it's a different cable or whatever it might be. It's the exact same, so the customer knows if they go first time and they get a good experience and know what they're doing and it's easy, they'll come back and it's the same thing, and it gives them that comfort and confidence that no matter what site they go to, they know what the expectations are and they're going to get a good experience.
It's really funny because last week we done something we haven't done before, and that is we sent out to thousands of app users that we have, and we sent out the fact that we're in partnership with you in terms of partnering to supply into our, and that took off. We've seen so many people last week shift a charge with you, and it was amazing. And then we were having actually people wrote in, and we encourage it because we interact with our customers as a lifestyle thing. So we don't hide behind the platform. We're actually in front of the platform, but not physically. So we are always interacting with our end users. And we last week had the most amount of comments made by Arnold Clark on the basis of how good it was. And at one stage, they wrote to us telling us that they had a little bit of an issue doing the start because they were a new EV driver. But they went in to speak to your team, who were fantastic, by the way, and came out and showed them how to use our app and showed them how to get a charge. And they felt compelled to share that amazing news with us. And I think there's a lot to be said about the way the industry could follow that. I really thank you as well for giving the thought to the bay layouts. There's a lot of, there's a really mouthful to try about bays could fit here because that means commercial value, but 6 bays will be better because that's for the interest of the end user. So actually, on behalf of the EVs, I want to say thank you because you're trying to make that balance between commerciality and the end user. And that's really, really clear. So a big well done to you and the team. I don't know whether this is something that you've done or you're starting or you're in the process map of, but everyone's talking about the future plug and charge. And I was speaking to our team about it internally, about where is it. And there's some thoughts that we're ready for it. There's some thoughts that actually the car manufacturers are not quite ready for it yet. How do you see plug and charge advancing this year?
So let's be honest about this. That's a bit of a dream customer experience, isn't it? Where you arrive, you plug in, and you forget about it. You don't have to have limited involvement from you as the customer. You simply just plug in, and the car and the charger just look after everything for you. Anything like that provides that customer with an excellent experience, we're very keen on. So it's something that is certainly on our radar. Yeah, I'm an advocate for it. I guess I'm slightly sentimental in a way, in that because I've been involved in this industry for a wee while, I quite enjoy. Maybe it's just me, but I quite enjoy the interaction that I have with an app or whatever it may be. I quite like it. Being, I guess, quite technical, but certainly if I'm on a journey from point A to point B and I just want to charge as conveniently as possible, plug-in charge is the sort of end goal I would suggest.
I agree with you, Jamie. I mean, I'm looking forward to it, but actually, to guys, I kind of predict something here, and let this be said here and now first, in case it comes true, because quite often I make predictions and they come true, and then people kind of go, "You did, Sam." Here's my prediction, and my prediction will be that actually we won't see plug-in chargers alone. It'll be a hybrid with an app involved, because you still need to know what do you do when it doesn't go right, and the app gives you that facility. Our customers, an example, know if it's not going right, they can quickly get hold of somebody. We can probably fix it for them straight away as well. I mean, we had some the other day who said that they're stuck at a charging point which wasn't working, and we were able to technically get a fix done and through so they could actually start there and then. So I think there's going to be a hybrid version of plug-in charge. It's not going to be a fully hands-off. I think the fact is that the customer experience, and again, like you, I think will be improved, but it'll be improved alongside the app of choice that people will make. And we're definitely in that market to work with partners to be a first of choice when it comes to the customer.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like choice is really important for people. A sort of one size fits all sort of start charging payment solution, I don't think is necessarily the way to go. I think you have to give customers a choice. So if they want to use your app, or if they want to use our app, or if they want to just plug and charge, there is an option there for people. And I think that's important. What I will say is, and what we've put a lot of effort into, is to try and make it as clear as possible. So yes, choice is good, but if it's not implemented properly and it's not clear, choice can cause confusion. So we've really had to try and make sure that it's super clear what a customer does when they arrive on site and what the options are available. And that being said, what I haven't touched on is the fact that our chargers are actually bookable as well, which is something that no one really, certainly in the CPO space, is doing. And that's something that we've sort of, I guess, pioneered from the beginning, and we are changing fairly regularly to improve the customer experience, to give them the desired behaviour on site.
I think you're right. I think it's about giving customers the right choice. I mean, I'll give you an example, which is, because we don't design things around the tech, we design things around the customer. We make all our decisions based on the customer. I'll give you a quick example, which is when we got our developers to put together the app, I would trace the number of steps included to get to the charging function. Having choice is great, but having choice that actually you can't make a decision about is not necessary. I'll give you an example. In our app, you only need to basically plus 2 or 3 taps and you're started and you're charging. But they had introduced some steps where you would press a button and then it would give you a description of what's happening next, and then press a button and move forward. And I said to the developers, which is, can they make a decision at that stage? Well, no. Well, don't have it. Don't have it. So, and the reason being as well is like, and I've seen others out there do it where they take this journey and 8 steps later, you still haven't even got your car charged. Or they don't have the facility to charge the car. And it happened to be that somebody done a review on us the other day where they were comparing us to how difficult it was to do it actually in the moment with another operator, and then versus our app. And it was great to see it go out on social media and be picked up so well. So I'm really pleased that you're thinking about the choice though for customers. I mean, there's something that I like, right? Okay. And we were the first in the industry to do what I'm about to tell you, which is offer coffee availability to our customers. And I join you and I hear about this being an option as well for the customers that are coming along and charging at Arnold Clark. How's our listeners all about it? Because we are definitely thinking the same.
Well, it turns out it's not just Scottish people that like free stuff, right? It's so yeah. I mean, because our charge points are situated at our branches, we've got a lovely facility there for customers to come in whilst they're charging. Don't sit in your car. Come into the branch, have a coffee on us, use the facilities, use your Wi-Fi, do your work emails, whatever you need to do, whilst you're charging it, and just make it as nice an experience as possible. People love a wee, charging, having a wee free coffee, and rather than spending £4 or £5 on a coffee, they can nip in and get a free one with us. And as you mentioned earlier, Tim, about the staff being friendly, like we every single branch we have a charge host, or multiple charge hosts, and they have all been trained to help the customer. So if a customer has a problem and they've phoned the helpline, maybe they've not, we've got a 24/7 helpline as you would expect. They maybe just want to come in and speak to someone because, people like to do that, right? Some people don't. Some people like to just sit and deal with it themselves and speak on the phone. That's okay. But if you want to come in for a bit of assistance, then the charge hosts are there to provide you with that. Like you mentioned earlier, it's not really something that is really offered out there in the industry. People come back and charge with us because they've received good service from people that, let's be honest, are trained to do this and provide fantastic customer service to all of our customers anyway. So, it feels like a no-brainer to make sure that our charge customers are getting the same level of, help and support.
It's funny because I can share with you, some months ago, I was invited to give a talk at a conference, and I was with another CEO, and was sat on stage being questioned, and they said, do you know what? In the future, I will think that people will start to offer free coffee. And I looked at him and I said, we already do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's brilliant that we kind of pair it with you and collaborate with you, and you're doing it as well. And I love the idea that actually you've got somebody championing EV either way. And I think that is so good. I mean, I really want this message out to new EV drivers as well, because you do tend to go it alone. And I've heard this word before I even got an EV, but I didn't realize if it was range anxiety. Now, can you believe that they've actually picked up on this kind of like word now about range anxiety? And I think at first maybe that happens because you don't know enough about it, and also
Yeah,
big change, right, from going to petrol diesel. I mean, the upside is this: I can't fill up a petrol car from the house, but I can charge the car from the house. Some of the downside as well is when you're away from home at the moment charging, it becomes a little bit more a challenge unless you use an app like ONEEV, of course, of which,
yeah,
you can be routed then to anyone that's close by. And you can decide whether you've got time and put it onto a slow charge, or you go for the faster charges like yours. But one of the other things I want to say is this is, people are price aware, probably because it's new to market. And even though it still does work out, we've done lots of calculations, it still works out cheaper to have an EV in terms of electric and stuff. You did decide on your pricing model because your pricing model is actually very good. I think so. One other reason why we wanted to partner with you.
yeah, absolutely. So ultimately, what are we trying to do here? What we're trying to do is support customers with their switch to electric and make it as attractive as possible. So we, as an absolute, fundamental part of our strategy is to be the most competitive rate that we possibly can. So our network is 55 pence. We charge our customers 55 pence per kilowatt hour, which is quite frankly astounding value for money. And that's what we've seen in our customer interaction, is that's the hook that brings people in because it's such fantastic value. They're getting an ultra rapid charge for 55 pence per kilowatt hour, and when they come, they're getting a good experience, so they're going to come back. That's quite simple what we're trying to do here. And this is generally our strategy across our entire business, is that we will offer the customer the best value that we possibly can, and we feel that charging 55 pence.
Yeah, it is a good price. I think that it starts to now bring the industry into line with what's fair as well, because and I think this is where we think overlapping in many ways is if you put the customer at the decision making, what do they want? They want fairness in pricing. They want to be able to charge first time, and they want to do it in a nice environment. And if there's going to be any add-ons, extras, loyalties, coffees and stuff, they want to be part of that as well. And more importantly, they want to do it in a lifestyle which suits them, not necessarily suits somebody else. And your model definitely fits that. And it fits with us so well because of that model that you have about putting the customer first. But I would say to listeners out there and people that are watching, which is, it's not all Bella Roses though. I mean, you would have done that, you would have done market research yourself like we did. And what we're offering is a bit more unique than the norm, right? Is what you find as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the first one to, when I'm speaking to friends and family about electric cars or whoever it might be, and they're a little bit unsure about, certainly charging in public, and you mentioned range anxiety. We can talk about charging anxiety as well and what that means. Sounds similar, but actually quite a bit different when you drill into it. It isn't all, like you say, a bed of roses out there, and we wanted to change that viewpoint so that people are not complaining about there being queues. First, this was part of the rationale for booking, to give people that comfort that when they're going to get to say, I've booked a charger, that's mine, and I can go and use it, and also that they have a really good experience, which is why we've went for what we believe to be the best kit in the market with Kempower. We've not scrimped and scraped on that to make sure that you're getting a good customer experience. So yeah, we've mentioned it lots of times, Tim, but it really is true. Is about all these micro decisions, that every single decision that we've ever made from day one has had the end goal in mind, and to make put the customer first.
And I think that's what's making the difference. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, I hang out with industry leaders, and one of the things that they're saying about us, and to be honest with you, even some of the real big players. And I was talking to the CEO of a major European CP the other day, and they said that we are fortunate as a business for ONEEV because we're agile, we're small enough, we can take the industry in a way that fits for the new person. Where I've got to be honest, I'll give credit to the big CPOs that have landed, because they landed with a purpose for years of get the technology, get it out there, get it rolled out and get the infrastructure in there. And we probably come at a point, Jamie, where we're saying, okay, so that infrastructure is building, that's coming on nicely. We don't need to think about that, but we do need to think about the end user, because it's not good enough just to have the infrastructure turn up and arrive unless it works, unless it's priced right. And, I'm seeing at the moment, and I'm talking to a lot of businesses who are saying, we're listening to you and we're watching what you're doing because we're agile. As an example, Jerry, in our business, we do everything month to month. So we have a strategy for the year, what we want to do, but we actually from month to month look at the changing dynamics and the lifestyle. Exactly, the industry is progressing and how it impacts the customer. So next week I'll have a board meeting and we'll talk about what has changed and what needs to be different for the next month. And that is all playing into actually being ready for next month's EV driver, not 2 years ago, an EV driver. How do you look to the future of the EV drivers? Because simply you've come to a good place, but you still must be looking at the future EV driver.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a fast changing industry. Any decision that you make now, you have to think to yourself, okay, does this solve a problem now, or does it make the situation better now? Yes, great. But will this also be the case in a year or two's time? And how much time and energy are we going to spend on this solution right now? Is it really going to be worth it in the next 2-3 years time? So we're always looking to the future. I mean, something as simple as things like charging speed, is maybe a good example. So everyone's completely obsessed about kilowatts and charging time and everything. I want super fast charging, and that's great, absolutely. As time goes on, cars absolutely are charging faster and everything, but it's not the be all and end all. It is not all about charging speed. There's lots of things to take into consideration. We've all got hundreds of apps on our phones, and like me, I'm sure like yourself, Tim, if I've got an app on my phone that is slow and clunky, I'm just not interested. I expect high standards now, right? People expect high standards of, they want things to be sleek and quick and, your app is that. It's really intuitive to use. It looks great, and, people will want that going forward. It'll become even more of a factor, I would suggest.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for bringing that up, because actually a lot went into that app. We looked around at what the marketplace was, and we didn't be like any of them. There was not one other app out there that we wanted to copy or take elements from. And the reason being is we wanted to make our decisions about the consumers. Even like we would count the milliseconds of the startup screen. We don't want in a low 5G area or 4G area to be clunky. That is heavy. So the milliseconds of the startup screen was important. And when you get into there, you would just end up in most apps would you just go straight into a map. Here you feel like you're going into a premium and then you can then start to do things what you want to do. And we took out any features that actually were too clunky and didn't give value. I mean, we just said, let's make this easy once you get in there, because you can slim down then the way the app performs to make it easier for customers. So take away features which are heavily required to do little that a customer really wants. And on top of that, we canvassed EV people directly and said, there's a number of them. What would you keep and what would you not? And we listened to them on the build as well. So, I mean, having had a chance to download and look at it, what was your take away from our ONEEV app?
I mean, straight away, it's fast and it's slick and it looks good. That's the thing that you pick up on immediately. The information's clear. You've got the real time availability. It does exactly what you would hope and expect it to do, and different payment options. It ticks all the boxes.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. I looked from our side into it. I mean, even down to making sure you got the opportunity to get your receipt straight away.
Yeah.
So it's as simple as the things, right? Because, this is not just going to start appearing on charge points anywhere soon. You're going to get a receipt printer. It's just not going to happen. And yet other apps didn't keep to the basics of, getting a receipt, of which is a normal thing. I remember actually when I first started with my EV, I wanted a receipt and I had to send an email to a customer service department to get a receipt, and then 7 days later it arrived. I mean, when you've
Yeah.
got you send purchase now, you want it to work. Yeah. And I actually have got apps on my phone, plenty of them, because actually I only ever carry my phone around with me now. I don't really carry my wallet or anything, to be honest. I don't need a key for my car because I can run it off of my app. I can get a charging done on my app. I run my life on the app, and then it's not about being tech crazy. It's just because it makes my life easy. If I'm going to London onto when I want to see the underground, I don't no longer stand and look at the map. Yeah, I free look at it on the train
Yeah.
as to where I'm going to go, and how long it's going to take me. All these things, I think, have been a real improvement in life. And watch this space with AI as well, because one of the things that we're doing at One EV is looking at AI and help with the lifestyle functionality in the app as well, making it even easier. So yeah, we hear about plug and charge, but actually AI side can actually also have a real presence and making things a little bit easier. Things about thinking ahead in terms of what your routine's like and the availability for future. So you talk about booking. If I know, yeah, in my diary, I want to book it out, to just say, hey, book a slot, rather than you having to then start to do it. So the integration is going to be a lot more user friendly for the feature as well. Now,
Yeah.
it's pretty sick though that somebody can come along, really park up, charge, and then go and look for the next car. Really, they put all the trees. It seems like a place that I could hang out in.
Yeah, it really is, the staff are really nice and friendly, and there's not real objective is not to absolutely pounce upon any charge customer that comes in and try to sell them a car. Absolutely not, and not at all. But why not have a wee look when you're in?
Yeah.
And people with EVs, a relatively high percentage of people with EVs right now are interested in cars, and they are interested in other EVs, and they want to sit in them. They want to get a feel for them, particularly some of the new manufacturers that we're working with, the likes of BYD or Amoda or whoever it might be, new players in the industry. A lot of people are very curious and want to test drive these cars for the first time, and find out a bit more about them. Overall, it's a good experience. Some of our branches are absolutely spectacular, to be honest. Some of our new ones that we've refurbished internally with our estates team look absolutely sensational. They've got full blown cafes, not just a coffee machine in the corner, full blown cafes that you can come in and have a proper latte and have your lunch. This is the sort of car dealership of the future. Is not necessarily what it it's certainly not what it is right now. It's more of a space where people can come and spend some time, and there's not necessarily 50 cars in the showroom or whatever, or 20 cars in the showroom. People buy cars differently now. People do a lot of their research online or whatever it might be, and they're really just coming to facilitate the sale and maybe pick the car up or whatever. They're not necessarily walking around, but people still like doing that. So there's a bit of both. So we're having to sort of cater for both types of customer, all types of customer.
Well, Jake, I'm one of these people that's always think about new ideas. I thought of one there because I'm a coffee snob. Yeah. Okay. So I think next time I do a podcast, I'm going to do it in one of your cafes, and I'm going to rate you on your coffee. Me and coffee, I've been traveling the world. It's been like the most consistent thing I've found. So I'm going to do that in future. I'll check in with you and how well your coffee is as well.
Glasgow, our Cafe 1954 is what we call our fancy coffee bars in our branches after the year in which Arnold Clark was founded, and those are very good, I have to say. So if you're ever up in Glasgow, Tim, I'll invite you across to one of our sites that has a Cafe 1954. You can rate our coffee.
Yeah, so viewers out there, watch your space. This might be another podcast for the future as well. So, I think we agree that our partnership together is pretty special because we have the customer, in the focus of everything that we do. I think the add-ons look, really good in terms of the coffee mechanisms and stuff like that. I mean, think about something that. And I'm going to add to a question to leave the viewers with a bit of a thought process here, which is a new EV driver. They are faced with the myths of the media and the social media, and they're forgetting with these myths to do then the comparison. So much so, that you kind of think that this is just isolated to an EV. But You have to fill up your car with petrol, and you have to stand there and wait for it. You don't always fill it for a full tank. And yet, when people are scaring people about charging, they're talking about waiting 20 minutes, but that's for a full charge, and you don't need a full charge all the time. So, what
No.
advice would you give to somebody that's currently thinking, I would really like to get into the world of EV, bust those myths, and give us something that you would give them as a bit of advice?
So we had in the kind of, I say the early days, but it's not that long ago really. But we had innovation centres up in Arnold Clark where you could come and just drive an EV, and it wasn't a sales environment. It was simply just getting behind the wheel, driving an electric car, and getting a feel for it, and speaking to experts and everything. And that is now the case at every one of our branches. You can come and get some good advice about driving an EV. For me, it's about speaking to industry experts, speaking to people that know what they're talking about, have driven EVs for a long time, listening and listen to their experience. People have this preconception that they're going to be sitting waiting for their car to charge, right? I've never done that. Right, not once. And I've driven an EV for 10 years, and I've never once waited for my car to charge, because I've either done it overnight, or if I'm on a long journey, I've charged whilst doing other things, so that when I've done that thing, my car has charged. Whether that's have lunch, whether it's have a meeting, whether it's go to the shop, whatever it might be. And it's a completely different mindset. And when people start to realise, okay, it's there's maybe their viewpoint starts to change a little bit. And that being said, as well, what I also find is most people are obsessed with two things with electric cars, right? When they're thinking about buying it. Number one, how far can it go? And how much am I going to save, right? And two of those things are obviously very, very important. But what people are not thinking about first is just how bloody good they are. Right, as a product and as a driving experience, they are absolutely fantastic. And this is coming from a car guy. They are fantastic to drive. Quite often, I'll give you a story. My dad is a car guy as well, and he was rightly the same. I'm not sure about range. Not sure, is it going to save me money? I don't know about the lack of noise. I don't know how I feel about that. But the second that he got to drive one for the first time, like a quick one, let's call it. We drove for a few hours, whatever, and he could not believe the acceleration, the performance, how quiet it was. The lists, you and I know the list well, how great they are. And I said, Dad, not once have you spoke about any of the other things that you mentioned before. Not once have you said that it's too quiet. In actual fact, you said it was great that it was quiet. Not once have you spoke about the range, because you're driving it and you're actually quite comfortable with the fact that it says 240 miles, and you can go a long way in 240 miles. The product speaks for themselves and how good they are to drive, and just living with day to day. So for me, it's about getting bums on seats and listening and watching videos and reviews, and just for me, that's the thing that tips the scales.
Yeah, brilliant. And thank you for sharing, because actually, I think it's really about go and try it, and leave it for yourself first before you listen to all these myths and scare tactics that are coming out. Because there's a part to play in making sure people are informed, but be informed yourself. And I really like, by the way, your takeaways, and fact that I do like as well that you're car guys. Yeah, I think that's important as well.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to critique something based on your industry expertise and your knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jamie, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure that as the year progresses, we'll be online somewhere together, or we'll meet up together. But for now, for those that are listening, my name is Tim Moore. I'm the co-founder of ONEEV, and you've been listening to Jamie. And I'm not going to say his surname other than Jamie the car guy. And Jamie the car guy, I'm Arnold Clark. Thank you so much, and have an awesome day.
Thanks.